Do you want to be on the Stiff Truth today?
I am on the Stiff Truth today.
You're right. Welcome to the Stiff Truth. I'm Scott Casanova. With me, as always, Mr. Bob West. How are things going up there in Rio Rancho, New Mexico? Are they nice?
Yeah, the weather's actually like perfect lately. So this is like our 3 weeks of fall. So we get like, 70 to 75 degree days, maybe dips into the 60s. At night, it's like 40, cold, but manageable. And then, here in 3 weeks, it'll be like, 40 degrees in the day with wind chills and ridiculous 25 at night. So we'll see. But right now it is perfect. We just went to the pumpkin patch yesterday. We got our pumpkins.
How many pumpkins did you get?
I got 3, but I already had one at home. So
okay, for a minute there.
Now 4.
Good. I thought you left somebody out like in the family. Like everybody's got to have their own pumpkin usually, right? I mean, that's how you roll.
Honestly, they do, but I end up carving them all, and my hands usually end up like in terrible shape afterwards. Because carving like 3 or 4 pumpkins is kind of brutal.
Yeah. Speaking of which, my thumb is pretty sore and fucked up from playing COD. Believe it or not.
You got gamer thumb.
Yeah, I've been stretching it out like this. I'm like, oh my God, just like giving it a little, up and down kind of stretch. It's been rough, dude. But you know what? It's all for a noble cause, is what I say. But you're absolutely right here. I was thinking about it. We've already chatted about it a couple of times, but October is such a phenomenal time of year. Not only is the weather phenomenal up here. I mean, I'm not using the air conditioner anymore, nor do I have to really use the heat. I kind of lie. I did kick on the heat the last couple of days because it's been like in the 30s at night here, but that's okay. Yeah. Still warming up to the 60s today. It's 72 degrees, just tits outside. If I want to be a weatherman real quick. But the other really cool thing, I was telling Jamie the other day, there is literally every fucking sport on television right now. Every single sport.
October is great for that.
Yeah, hockey's just kicking off, dude. NBA's just kicking off, dude. You've still got playoffs for baseball right now, dude. And of course, you're in full swing of football season. I was on ESPN. I was like, this has got to be like the easiest time as like an ESPN analyst or reporter or just anybody doing research for them. Cause you're like, what's going on today? And you literally everything's going on. Everything. It's just phenomenal. Like, so it's kind of thinking about that, combining the beautiful weather, the best holiday of the year, and then every sport is cranking. And unlike last year, every sport is just thriving right now. There's no COVID nonsense, bullshit pauses and bubbles and whatnot. Gotta love that.
No, I've always said that October and November, the best 2 months of sports all year long, because of the exact thing. Baseball wraps up in November. You got the playoffs in baseball, which is like the most exciting part about baseball, because 180 games during the season, like who gives a shit about all that? But once you get down to like the last 10 and who's going to get into the playoffs in September, and then it starts creeping into the divisional round and all that in October, then it starts getting exciting. Fans start getting raucous and during games, and it's actually watchable on TV, which is, kind of the only time all year that you can watch baseball, because other than that, it's a snore fest.
Dude, I am on the same page as you, and I don't want to seem un-American and everything. I know it's America's pastime and all that great shit, but I can't watch a baseball game on television unless, I'll say, after the All-Star break. I mean, that right there is when it starts to get interesting. Like you were saying, playoffs are a little bit before then is really the only time I can stomach it. And I'm glad I'm not alone, because conversely, going to a baseball game is fucking awesome. I mean, literally amazing. It's just the feeling of sitting in the stands, having a hot dog, a beer, or whatever, hearing the crack of the bat, all that good stuff. Or maybe not. You can even fall asleep in the stands and have a fantastic time. But a little bit different behind the television set. Well, it's boring as fuck.
Excuse me. The food at the game, right? Baseball has the best food. Always. You'll get, little ice creams and Dippin' Dots and like baseball cap shaped bowls. Right? They always have this like weird stadium food. It's kind of a fusion type of food that they'll have. Oh no, even just the AAA team here in town going to the Isotopes. The best thing there is to grab a couple of beers and the domestic or microbrew. They usually have everything there, and then just like sampling the food. Love baseball game food. Love it.
Yeah. Baseball on TV before the playoffs sucks. Going to a baseball game. As I said before. Yeah. Tits.
Now, I've never been to a playoff game for baseball, but I bet it's amazing.
Neither have I. I don't think. Come to think of it, man. The only time I've ever gone to see a major league game, I've seen multiple major league games, but I've never seen any game of substance when it comes to time of the year and the win or loss really mattering too much. I will say though, I've been to a decent amount of games though. I've been to a Cubs game, been to Wrigley Field, been to go see the Braves play in Atlanta. Cincinnati, drove down there when I lived with my mom in Indiana. I actually went down to Cincinnati a couple times. And of course, I've been to a few Rockies games. I've seen the Yankees play at Coors Field, but I think that's about it for me.
Who's your squad?
Yankees, bro.
Oh,
all day.
Okay. Yeah. No, I can get down with that. So I've never been to a playoff game, mostly because I'm a Rangers fan. I grew up in Dallas, so there's not a lot of opportunities to go to playoff games when you're dealing with the Rangers. But they had their day in 2010 and 2011 where they went to the World Series a couple of times and got spanked both times.
Yeah, I mean, it's hit or miss with me. I tell people I'm a Yankees fan, like, oh my God, bandwagon. I'm like, no, not really. I was like, my family's like from Brooklyn or whatever. Now you would say back in that time period, it was actually the Brooklyn Dodgers when my dad was growing up there, but they left when he was a young kid. So it's been Yankees like around the clock in my household since I was a little kid. So I got to stick with them. You know what I mean?
I'll tell you this. It's always cool to watch a Yankees game, even if you're not a fan. Either you're going to watch them to hate on them or you're going to watch them just because of the spectacle. No matter what, they do bring a presence with them wherever they go.
Well, they buy entertainment. You know what I mean? They purchase it. And that's cool when you can do that. It's kind of like the Cowboys. You know what I mean? They've got a decent amount of money too. I wouldn't say they're nearly as ridiculous as the Yankees, but still same kind of thing, I would imagine. Right? Jerry Jones. Oh, by the way, total sidebar here. The Gruden thing. Gruden getting canceled, right?
Oh yeah.
We don't have to talk about it too much here. He said some really ridiculous, stupid shit why the fuck would you, I don't care if it was 2011. Why would you put that kind of language in any emails to anybody, dude? It's emails. It's documented. It's just Gruden. Shame on you for just doing that. I don't care if you're racist or homophobic or whatever it is. Why did you put it in fucking emails so much? But I thought it was interesting. They're going around the horn. What's his name? Keyshawn Johnson, I believe, right? Who used to play with him. He's like, oh yeah, I'm not fucking surprised at all. He was always a piece of shit, just coming out right away against him, which a lot of people, makes sense.
Yeah, but where was that like 2 weeks before this?
Exactly. But again, once it comes out, he separates himself. Oh, I knew it. I knew he was a piece of shit. I just didn't say anything because I was busy right now. But I thought it was interesting. Not too polarizing, not too like hot or anything, but Jerry Jones is the one that came out and said, hey, not like, hey, everybody, give this guy some slack. He's a good guy. But he said, and he generalized a little bit, and I'm paraphrasing, but he's like, hey, a lot of these people that are being accused of this right now, from what I know and what they've done for the game of football, they've been good people. You know what I mean? So let's just kind of pump the brakes a little bit here before we start accusing everybody that Gruden was associated with, because you know how they do that. Once you start getting canceled, it's like, oh, you talked to him in 2011. Fuck you too. You know what I mean? And so that started to get really heating up with the fucking rapid fire cancellation by association. And he put the smackdown on that. I was like, man, you know what? Good for Jerry Jones. I was actually quite proud of him. I thought that was a nice move, Like, hey. Yeah,
and honestly, I've heard calls of, I think it was Derek Carr that was saying something about we should just audit all the emails and just clean house, check everyone. And it's like, that's not exactly the environment that is conducive to a friendly work environment. You know what I mean? That's the kind of place, like, no one wants to work where Big Brother's always over your shoulders. You have to give people the freedom to kind of operate. And then when something comes up to the surface or whatever, you act upon it. But to lock everyone down like that is unhealthy for the workplace in general. So you can tell that this guy's never had a real job, right? Because he's always been an athlete. Yeah. So that's not exactly feasible. So anyone that wants to talk like that has never really worked in any length in a corporate environment. Or at least been a boss, because you can't treat your employees like that, or you're going to get turnover. You're going to lose people, and not because they're hiding their racism, but because it's annoying to know that I'm going to get random audits on everything I do, because you know what that turns into? It turns into going away from the witch hunt that they're looking for and actually finding all kinds of other stuff. So then you're always being scrutinized for everything that you do, no matter what, even if your email has nothing to do with bigotry or misogyny or racism or whatever. you're now, well, you didn't handle the situation exactly, in accordance to, expectations or whatever. And we're going to ding you because we found this, because we weren't looking for this. We were looking for something else. But it turns into that level of oversight that is so heavy that no one's going to want to work there.
Well, and the other thing is, you see how this is again, and I'm not going to downplay the severity of Gruden's words, comments, and how he treated people, whatever. It seems like, we got a little peek behind the curtain here, and he's, kind of we'll say an archaic kind of piece of shit to a certain extent when it comes to race and sexuality. Totally fine. Whatever. I think, that's whatever. But it's like, it's canceled, like the cancel culture kind of comrades, so to speak. They're like fucking sharks, dude. They smell like a little nick is like what happened to Gruden. They smell like blood in the fucking water, and it's like wildfire. It's like fucking hysteria to literally, like you were saying, people are like, yeah, well, let's figure out who else is fucking a piece of shit. I bet they're all over the place. And it's like, they just get so fucking ferociously motivated to like start canceling everybody associated with them. And I think that's where Jones was coming in. Like, Jesus Christ, pump the brakes a little bit here. Just because I talked to John Gruden in 2012, after he sent an email or whatever, after his morning coffee, all of a sudden now I'm associated. And that's the other thing that I think is interesting. I'm almost going to apologize to you for bringing up this conversation, but I think it's okay. But
it needs to be talked about.
Right. But I do think it's interesting too, because then you start getting I put myself in the situation. Like you need to start canceling everybody that didn't do anything about it. Well, fucking honestly, here's my fucking opinion. If John Gruden is walking around, and I worked for the Bucs staff back in 2010, 11 or whatever, right? And he's like, this, that, whatever, just being racist, being misogynistic, being like, just horrible to a certain extent, unless he's my direct report or vice versa. How is it my fucking problem what he does, and why do I even care that much? Honestly, if it's something that's not directly affecting me or directly affecting our work relationship, I kind of have to take that stance. And I know I'm going to probably get heat for that from people, but I wouldn't give a fuck to a certain extent. I'd be like, well, yeah, that's Gruden. He's kind of a piece of shit, but I'm going to move along with my day. So I guess I would probably be canceled in that scenario too, because I would not, in reality. And I know a lot of people say this, like, speaking like, after the fact. In reality, I don't think you go out of your way a lot of time to try to get your fucking head coach in trouble if it's not really affecting you. I'm just going to go ahead and say it.
Well, and there's a couple of things I'd like to kind of respond to on that too, is that's why it's so egregious for the people in the positions of power like that to step out of line and act inappropriately, whether it's sexual exploitation or like Cuomo, right?
Yeah.
Because everyone beneath him is afraid of their job because of self-preservation. Yeah. You're trying to advance your career too, right? Not everyone has the mentality of a whistleblower. I mean, how long did Facebook go on, fucking with people's data and putting bullshit out there before someone finally was like, no, this is a known fact. They're actually doing this on purpose. They're targeting kids, and they're targeting like fucking, whatever, just to boost their views. Same thing in the NFL, right? Is everyone's kind of look out for themselves in their own career. They're not always going to work for John Gruden. They're trying to get to, some executive leadership job at the NFL and climb the corporate ladder just like anyone else at any other job.
And again, self-preservation or not, why would you on your way up there be like, it'd be really wise in my career track right now, turn in my boss, and you know what I mean? It's just
right. I mean, and ethically, yeah, it's probably the right thing to do, but that's why not everyone is a whistleblower.
Yeah,
exactly. I mean, we all run across things that's inappropriate all the time, but only a small percentage of people are in the position financially or whatever to make that calculation. Right.
Now, I will say this though. These are words, and I know this is going to hurt everybody out there that gets so offended by everything right now, but they are words. If this was like a Jerry Sandusky kind of scenario, then maybe I'm speaking up a little bit sooner because it's actually physically harming people. And to me, again, it's just the severity. I'm looking at things I'm like, yeah, he's saying this and that, whatever. He's saying these things versus he's taking these actions where, and in my mind, the action needs to be taken quicker on somebody like my part as a spectator to the whole damn thing. Because again, am I getting whipped with a towel by Jerry Sandusky in the Penn State locker room? Maybe not. But if I know people are actually physically being harmed, that's a different story. I'm just going to go ahead and say that sometimes people take words as actions. Like, you didn't do anything about it. It's like, yeah, he was just like talking because he's a dumbass, so there's that too.
And we don't know like the severity of it. I would presume that because he's, talks misogynistically and acts racist, in his verbiage and the way he interacts with people, then I would presume then that probably did affect him and his promotions to his subordinates and who he gave jobs to and opportunities to, who he might start over someone else on the team. I would imagine that's the case. I can't be certain of that, but I would assume that's why misogyny and racism has no place in the corporate environment when you're a boss. That's why it's so bad when you're a boss, because now it's transforming from your personal beliefs to actually affecting people's opportunities, their futures, their careers, their lives, what have you. And then on the other side of it, so John Gruden, he's a throwback coach, right? Yeah. So his attitude, obviously from his emails and everything, that's from a predominantly white period of time in the NFL, from like the 60s and 70s.
I was just going to say, call it the 1960s, before the civil rights movement.
For lack of a better, way to phrase it, when it was actually accepted in mainstream America that people could be overtly misogynistic or racist in their jobs. And the civil rights movement it was barely 10 years old at that time. And the Equality Act had just been passed in the 60s. So it's a different culture, but he's a throwback to that. And that's why he has no place in the NFL. And that's why he had to be forced out, because the NFL doesn't they want to move as far away from that and progress as far as they can away from that and be the model for opportunity. Remember, the NFL has a fucking antitrust exemption from Congress so that they can be that beacon, that light, and run things appropriately. And Goodell is not going to have that regress.
Well, and I'll say this too. I got to say this because, again, I'm giving both sides of what I think about it, because I think to a certain extent, it's a little bit much with I could say, just how crazy people got about it with canceling him, not him, but his associates and everybody that knows him, and kind of digging more and more like, hey, leave it where it is right now. You found the guy. He's a piece of shit. But I do agree with what they did. And I do agree. And let's just make sure everybody knows John Gruden stepped down. He's not a retard. You know what I mean? To a certain extent, you're not going to fight that one. You're not going to Cuomo or Donald Trump yourself in the NFL and say, no, I'm staying. I've got my 10-year contract.
He was fired through resignation.
Exactly.
He was offered the opportunity to resign. Let's just say that.
Yeah. Well, what was his name? Al Davis's son. What's his name again? God, he looks like he's very sickly, but so did Al Davis too. And Al Davis is dead. So that makes sense. But man, he does not look good. I don't know if it's a family thing or just the gene pool, but even the color of his skin, he looks like he's got jaundice. I don't know. I'm just saying he needs to probably go see a doctor. But yeah, I thought it was funny. Like, his public announcement, he's like, I've accepted John Gruden's resignation. I was like, oh, have you? Because try going the other way with that and see what happens to you. I was like, that's not going to be a wise move. But yeah, I mean, that was all window dressing, essentially. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm going to go ahead and step down. I don't want to be a distraction. But yeah, can you imagine if everybody was still like him? Michael Sam never would have got a shot on a team. And what was it? 2000 and what was it? The guy that he was talking about, the guy that openly gay player that came out, got drafted by the Rams when they were in Missouri or what have you. But yeah, that would never even be an opportunity if every coach was still like Gruden, because honestly, in the back of his mind, I'm sure you're thinking that I'm not going to have some faggot on my team, you know what I mean? Or whatever. I'm like, dude, you can't really be doing that. It's 2021.
Right. So. And it's not even just the NFL. It's just any boss in anywhere, in any business, it's 2021, like you said. And as far as the witch hunt goes, like I 100% agree that Gruden, I wouldn't say he's a piece of shit. I would say that he doesn't belong in leadership, in life, in business, in work, right? In the workplace.
Can I go ahead and say this real quick? Just like a lot of shitty kind of people that are like that, though, I'd still like to have a beer with the guy, maybe two. I'm just going to say that. Him and Donnie Trump, maybe sitting across from us, Adolf Hitler. I think it'd be an interesting conversation. I would have lots of stories to tell you, you know what I mean, following up from that meeting. I'm just saying. I mean, like, Gruden's over here. We got Donnie over here. His hair all over the place. Oh, man. But no, I'm sorry.
Someone's hair all over the place. But so as far as like the let's track down all of his associates and let's just cancel everyone and all this, that needs to be handled like any other corporate environment. Yeah. there's no reason to go digging through people's stuff. I understand that emails are company record and all that, and they have every right to look through them, and you sign that away when you start a job.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's no reason to create that kind of toxic environment. It's time that the normal HR and whistleblowing things happen. So if someone feels that they've been discriminated on by one of these associates that were kind of linked to this, racist and misogynistic emails from Gruden, and then that needs to get reported on by someone just like any other company that's HR. Hey, I'm feeling this. This needs to be investigated. I want this looked into because I think I was passed over because I'm Black, right? Or because I'm a female. And then they can look into it that way. But there's no reason to stop what you're doing and start evaluating the tens of thousands of people that the NFL has working for them.
Especially when you go like downward on the chain of command, right? If you want to do anything, just like they do with mafia, how the FBI used to catch and just shut down mafia rings, you go for the people that are directly responsible or overseeing that person, right? So if you're going to start canceling people, like who's in charge of Gruden, who is responsible for making sure this guy does his job and also is a good image for the organization, right? Like whoever's responsible for that, you literally go up and you cut that person out, right? You don't start his peers and the people under him. You can't expect firing them or canceling them is going to solve the problem of Gruden having his behavior tolerated at that level, right? You know what I mean? Because if anybody's responsible for it, unfortunately, it's the person that's directly in charge of them and responsible for their employment in the first place. So they need to go up the chain. So what I didn't hear much of, I'm sure maybe there was, but it's like, okay, so who's in charge of the head coach generally? Would it be the general manager?
It's the GM, yeah.
Okay, so I didn't really hear much about the GM of Tampa Bay at that time getting any flack. You know what I mean? I just heard people that were associated with him, his peers, other things like that. So again, that's kind of where, if anything, you go directly and be like, how would this behavior be tolerated? Let's go ask the person that's responsible for his employment. That's kind of where you go with that.
Well, even to that line of thought for as far as like the Raiders goes, right? This came to light and he was actually not coaching in the league at all. He was working for Monday Night Football at the time, right? And
God, he should have just stayed there, bro. He should have just stayed there. There wouldn't be any of this scrutiny. I bet you he's thinking now, why did I leave my cush job where I looked like the smartest fucking coach in the room? And I've got my Super Bowl ring and I sit here and just talk football hindsight and man, no stress, no nothing. He jumps back into the fucking lion's den. He gets like the magnifying glass put back on him. Pop, you're done. You can never go back to ESPN now, buddy.
No, he'll probably just have to retire from the game at this point.
Yeah.
So, what I was going to say is, so you have this guy, he's working for the Raiders now, and people are like, well, why would they hire such a piece of shit? He's like, well, to be fair, if they had these emails and they'd known this when they were interviewing coaches, they wouldn't have.
Exactly.
This is not the Raiders' fault. The Raiders did the right thing. This came to light. They're like, well, we don't really want someone with that type of personality managing our tens of millions of dollar annual budget for these players and our organization and all of that. So you've got to go, dude. You can't be here. It's a terrible look for us. We just got this new stadium. We're trying to move forward with our organization. So I think they did 100% the right thing. It came to light. They said, hey, dude, you need to go.
Well, think about it too.
We're going to replace you.
Yeah. And think about it too. Hiring Gruden prior to this being knowledgeable was a fantastic move by the Raiders, both financially for image and for potential championships, right? Not only are you bringing in a marquee name, a very famous coach, again, with his tenure and his stint with commentating, just made him even more popular to the masses, but he's got a Super Bowl winning coach. You know what I mean? Guy that's super, super popular. That's already bringing money into your stadium right out of the gate and potentially, more viewership and more money if you're doing really well, which they were unfortunately on track to be doing very well this year. I'm interested to see how this affects the team moving forward, just cohesive wise. You know what I mean? Because whoever's taking over has got to kind of pick up the slack. And I'm sure you have a very bad feeling in that locker room right now, regardless of who's picking up the slack.
Well, we'll figure that out with the level of toxicity that John Gruden really is. Yeah. Is this just some emails of him being cavalier and dumb, right? And thinking that he was fitting in with the boys, or depending on who he was talking to, or whatever he was trying to do, or is this really, or is he really just an asshole behind closed doors? You never know. So if he leaves and the team just all of a sudden becomes a better team, then that could be where very well that they excise that cancer in there, and maybe culturally he was a problem there. We won't really know. I don't think it'll affect the X's and O's, because in the end, there's a bunch of professionals there that can scheme up a game and from film
true.
and get ready with their personnel and then make adjustments in the game and call the X's and O's. I don't think that's really going to be an issue going forward. Most all coaching staffs in the NFL can handle losing their head coach and move right along. But it'll be a matter of attitude, right? Like how the Raiders respond mentally.
I think more than anything, it may affect the players, some of the younger players, a little bit more than anybody else. Because they're professionals too, but a lot of those people kind of lean on the leadership and the coaches. That is that point, you know what I mean, for a lot of the guys coming in. So it'll be interesting. But yeah, just thought I'd throw that out there. I don't even know how we. I didn't think about talking about that. I don't even know how we brought it up. I'll have to re-listen to how we started that, or if it was just some random fucking comment by me. But anyways,
well, we started talking football, and then you brought up Gruden.
I guess that makes sense. That was literally like last week and the tail ass end of the week before I think that happened. But switching gears, let's just go ahead and do that real quick. I want to talk about Halloween a little bit more here too. I don't know about you. I think you did this. Me and Elizabeth were doing the rounds yesterday shopping, and we're going to Barnes and Nobles to pick up a birthday gift for her friend because she's at a birthday party right now. And on the way there, I look over, I see a Spirit Halloween store. I'm like, hey, baby, you want to go to the Halloween store? She's like, yeah. So we went like in there and just killed an hour in there fucking around and buying stupid shit. We got like a little Beetlejuice snow globe. It's pretty dope.
Nice. Yeah. I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah. Then I got like a big ass fake meat cleaver, or no, just a big ass machete that's branded Friday the 13th. I probably actually spent a couple extra dollars just because it was actually a legit branded Friday the 13th. I've got a 5-pack of Friday the 13th ankle socks for Jamie. They're adorable. You know, got little camp counselors and little like machetes on them and stuff like that. I got a Michael Myers, the many faces of Michael Myers coffee mug. And it's so funny. There's like 4 faces on one side, 4 faces on the other, all sad, happy. And it's just, you know, the same mask or whatever. It's right. Like frustrated, anxious. It was great. I had such a great time in there, bro. Oh my God. But dude, I've said it before. We've said it before. I'm getting more and more excited as we get closer to Halloween. I'm just going to stop right there and let you talk because I don't really have anything else to say besides that just general point. I love this time of year.
So we've been doing projects and Jess has been corpsing skeletons. And for those that don't know what that is, it's taking a skeleton that you get from the store, but then like dressing it up to where it looks like fleshy and bloody and nasty and like fresh. So we've got a couple of like full 5-foot tall skeletons that look like Hellraiser just ripped their skin off. Oh, so we've got that going for us, and like I think every single skull now Jess is now corpsed. So we're making our threshold because we have a courtyard and the gate that comes in. It's like tiered on each side. It goes down, and then we're gonna have like skulls on them. So when you walk through, like you have skulls, and we're making all the chains. I bought a bunch of chains that I have to spray paint to look like old metal. And then we're going to be hanging chains all over the front yard. Jess set up her witch yesterday, and we got the cauldron out there on the fucking fire pit, and we got this LED light thing, and it boils real water, and smoke comes off of it, and it's super cool looking. So we hung the huge spider web from the top of the house, and it's like a 15-foot wall, and it goes all the way down to the floor. Nice. To the ground, right? And so we got the huge spider we're going to put up today. We got a lot of decorations that we're doing. I've got the Beetlejuice setup that I'm going to be getting. I got a Beetlejuice mask that I got. So I'm thinking about trying to put together a full Beetlejuice character for him. Nice. I don't know if I'll have time to squeeze that in. We have a lot of projects working. But we have started the outside decorating as well as the inside decorating, and we're really getting amped up and geared up for Halloween. Again, one of the best times of year. October is just, it's a great time to be it's a great time to be an American. Wow. fucking October.
Well, I'm not even gonna get into this, but I have to just say, because I think it's no, I won't do it. I won't do it. Never mind. Just keep talking. I can't do it. It's too strange. It's too much of a strange comment. I can't do it. Go ahead. I can't.
We like strange around here, Scott. You're with family on the Stiff Truth. This is a safe place.
No, it's a really off color, just very strange
Oh,
thing.
well, I don't want you to Gruden anything on the show, so we'll just move forward.
Bob, I'll send it to you in a confidential email later, huh?
Okay. With a dick pic. Got
it. Well, yeah, dude, that's my subject line usually.
There better be. Anyway, so yeah, just like doing the Halloween thing, and it's got me like, reflecting and getting a little bit emotional. And it's like, why do I really love Halloween so much?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I've been warped by older siblings that loved, horror flicks. My brother was all into like the horror flicks and the tits because, violence and sex is always put together, especially
they go hand in hand,
especially in the 80s. Right?
Oh yeah.
So and then my sister always liked her like horror flicks too. So I kind of grew up exposed to that early. There was this skating rink when I grew up in Rockwall, Texas, that traditional roller skating rink, normal thing, but every Halloween they would put on the most epic haunted house and like their back warehouse area. So you could do the like roller skating, whatever, and then actually go into the haunted house. And so I was so small, right? I was probably 6, 7, 8 years old, when I started going to these haunted houses. And I have to go with my older siblings and hold their hands and everything, and then it's just scary as hell. And then at the end there'd be a Texas Chainsaw Massacre guy there with a real chainsaw with no blade on it, right, running after people like coming after you, not the fake plastic one at Spirit. No. This is some real chainsaw. So I remember getting the shit scared out of me at the haunted house all the time because we went to that skating rink a lot. It's cheap, that's why people went. And so I grew up to that. And I remember one time trick-or-treating and coming home. This is probably around 91, maybe 90.
Oh, God. Were you wearing a Body Glove t-shirt? Hypercolors?
This might even have predated that. But I'm coming home from trick-or-treating with my brother and my I think it was my mom that I went with. But anyway, and I'm coming up to the house and we're like coming up and it's Halloween, whatever. Decorations are up and all that. And then this Freddy Krueger comes around the corner of my house, mask, gloves, hat, sweater, all of it, running after us with hands, with the knife fingers, right? It was so scary, like so fucking scary. Like I don't remember. I might have cried. Like it was really scary, right? And it was just one of my sister's like high school friends that wanted to scare the shit out of us. That's one of the more memorable things growing up, though. And it left an impression on me forever, just kind of growing up in my house of loving Halloween. Now, I don't think that my parents take it to the level, but generational. You gotta take what you're given and expand upon it and improve it over the generations.
You've got to up your game, and Bob, you've done that very well. I will tell you what, just thinking about that, why just this memorable Halloween, one that sticks in my mind for me. I already know I want to say I was 5 or 6. This was pretty young. But it was like the first really memorable Halloween I remember having when I still lived with my mother and my older brother, Alex. Just how we started. I think I know I was getting ready as a pirate, right? And my mom was like doing the makeup and shit like that. My older brother, I can't even remember what he was, but I do remember as we were about to leave, he said that he had to go to the bathroom, right? And I'm just like doing my thing. I think I'm checking like myself out in the mirror. I've got like the pirate sword. I've got the eye patch. You know what I mean? I've got the hat. I've got like the striped, like shirt on and everything. I'm just totally pirate decked out, ready to rock and roll. And my brother's all, Scotty, come here. Scotty, come here. Come here, dude, real quick. And I was like, what's going on? And I go in there. He's like, oh, I hurt myself. I cut myself. And he's got like fake blood or whatever, like running down like his finger in his hand. And of course, at 5, 6 years old, I'm like, oh my God. And I'm like screaming for my mom. And he's like on the ground, like acting like he's dying or whatever. And then he gets up, starts laughing his ass off and pushing me around, calling me a pussy and all this shit. Pretty funny stuff. Now that I, of course, look back at it as an adult, but I thought it was the nastiest joke ever. And I was like, oh my God, I literally thought you were dying. I can't believe it. And I'm sure it looked like ketchup, now that I kind of even think about it a little bit more, but that was super scary to me. And it was like the first kind of horror Halloween practical joke that was pulled on me by somebody I trusted dearly, like my brother. So it was just very hardcore. But it was also very cool that night because we got a little scandalous. This is again, I think I did Halloween before this time, but this is like the first one that really sticks in my head. But we went around to everybody in the neighborhood. I can't remember again what he was, but I know I was a pirate. We got candy from everybody. Then we came home and we changed costumes, and I was a vampire and he was something else. And we went to all the same houses again and got candy from again. And I'm sure they knew it was us because there's only so many kids in the neighborhood, but we thought it was hilarious because we thought we fooled everybody and just doubled up on the candy, and nobody knew about it. Fantastic times.
Well, and they probably didn't know. Would you notice if a kid came back in a different outfit, or are you just like, yeah, here's your candy, trick or treat, get the hell out of here?
You never know. I was a little bit worried that we were going to that we were going to get busted. But at the same time, it was a nice little chuckle as we walked away from every house with double the candy that night. Super fun. But that was the other really cool thing too. I want to say for the first like 3 or 4 Halloweens that I remember, it was like a game of competition, coming home and like dumping out your bag of Halloween candy and see who got all the candy, who got the biggest, prize of candy, and just kind of comparing that because God damn it.
Naturally, if you got more candy, then you're better at Halloween.
Yeah, you're better at Halloween and you're the winner. They're the fucking loser. But I'll tell you what, man, I haven't seen these fucking little candies probably since the early 90s. But what really pissed me off back in the day is getting home, dumping out my own candy. You got all this legit candy. And then you had these fucking weird little like toffee.
Orange and brown wrapped ones.
What the fuck were those things? What evil asshole got those to hand out to kids? They were the nastiest candies too. And they were almost like taffy or something like that. Like the taste
I think
of
they
them.
were like nougat with peanut butter inside of them.
Something, dude. But I just fucking hated them, bro. You're like getting Twigs, Snickers, Milky Ways, fucking Three Musketeers.
I would love to have some of those right now. I mean, they're okay, but just to have them, just for the nostalgia of having them in the candy bin would be pretty legit.
It's pretty hardcore. We're from the same era when like, I can't even say what they are, but I just start saying these they were always just thuds too. You know what I mean?
Did they have a name?
I don't do. They were unbranded candies.
All right, Stiffies. If anyone knows what the peanut butter nougat things were that were orange and brown wrapped, weird little taffies, please let us know in the comments because we're dying to know. I'm even going to put that in the notes of the show. What are the brown and orange wrapped taffy things?
I mean, I get it, right? It kind of looked like Halloween, like coloring or whatever, because they were mixed together. But I was always so deflated and so sad when I dump out my fucking candy and there would be like a shitload of those. I think they were dirt cheap though, because it seemed like they used them as filler or something like that. But hopefully you can find out, because I never knew the brand name, nor when we handed out Halloween candy at our house when I was a kid, I never saw my dad or my mom buy any of that shit. So I was like, what is this fucking candy? But yeah, definitely a mystery of the ages until you figure it out on Google.
Oh, wow. I think I just found a picture.
Oh my God. What are they called?
I don't know. I want to see if I peanut butter kisses.
It doesn't seem right. I almost want to tell you, just forget about it. Just leave it alone, Bob.
Top 10 worst Halloween candy ruining Halloween. that's like the go to website, view pages, visit site. Tootsie Rolls. Smarties.
I like Tootsie Rolls and I like Smarties.
Necco wafers.
Is that them?
No.
Oh, okay.
Chocolate coins. Double bubble gum, Jawbreakers, Good and Plenty, like Mike and Ike's.
Oh yeah.
Candy jewelry. Oh, we all loved candy jewelry. Whatever those orange and black things are called is the name of that.
Hey, I feel a lot. I'm validated now. It wasn't just a mystery to me and you, buddy. You know what I mean?
And then their number one. Let's see what the number one was. Anything that isn't candy, and it has like a candied apple there, which technically I think would still be candy, but you know.
I honestly don't know what the big fuss is about candy corn. I like candy corn. It's straight up just sugar condensed into like a little fucking shape or what have you. But I never had a problem with it. There they are, those nasty little fucking things.
These things.
God. Oh, I was always I'm not going to say I was upset or sad. I was angry when I got these.
Let me just say, around November 5th, November 10th, and that week there when all of the candy has been depleted.
This is all that's left. Yeah, because that's all that's left. If you had any remnants of Halloween candy left in your room or whatever, this was probably like under your bed, underneath like a crusty sock or something like that.
So I want to know what these things are called. We're dying to know here. I don't know, but there's a great pick. For those of you on Spotify, go to the Stiff Truth YouTube page and go to a quarter of the way till the end of the show, and you'll see this pickup. I'll leave it up for the rest of the show.
Speaking of Halloween candy, something that I remember, and I'm sure you remember this too, we were very fearful about as children in the 80s, is the razor blades and shit like that,
and needles and shit.
Yeah. I remember that being such a huge urban legend. I'm going to say that now because I actually watched like an entire documentary about this, and there was some sick fuck back like in the 50s or 60s or something like that actually did some kind of just really nasty shit like that, but it was isolated to like this small town, or it just was, it's not nearly as popular. But I'll tell you what, in the 80s, like everybody warned you, like, make sure to check your Halloween candy, like all the parents and shit like that, people are putting, and I thought, like, as a kid, I was like, who are these sick fucking people, man? Turns out that hardly ever happened at all, but Jesus Christ, I could see why it was such an urban myth that spread like wildfire as a rumor and gossip and everything, because it's fucking horrendously nasty and just ridiculous to think that people would actually do that. It's just despicable, but it almost never happened. But damn it, I'll tell you what, if you ever got some candy where the wrapper looked like it was tampered with, or there was like a hole through like you saw that, you go, all right, you sick fucker, I don't know what you put there, but you can't get me, dude. Like, yeah, right away.
And you always see a story like every few years about someone fucking with Halloween candy, but it's so small, but still, it is. We were taught growing up and getting into
check your Halloween candy. Yeah.
And even as parents, like, I always checked my son's Halloween candy just to make sure none of the packages have been tampered with, because like a 7-year-old's not gonna check shit, even if it's open. They're like, oh look, this one's already open. Oh, fuck you.
Hey, they helped me. They knew I was hungry.
Right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's that. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just that I'm sick, or I grew up sick, but Halloween's just really always been a magical time of year, just October in general. So as September comes and the heat starts, dissipating from the summer, and you start getting into it, all of a sudden the orange starts popping up. In October, right? The classroom decorations start coming up at school. The businesses start having the window paintings done. The decorations start changing. The temperature starts going south. Fright Night starts going on at Six Flags. You know what I mean? Everything starts really, really coming through, and you can just feel the anticipation build for Halloween as it's coming, especially as a kid. But even as an adult, it's just a magical time of year for me, and the horror and the goth side of me just comes out more, and I really love it. And I in jest, I was talking to you about it, and I was like, it's kind of like The Purge. Like you repress these like nasty, I love to watch, people get bludgeoned to death in horror movies and all this stuff, but I don't want to tell anyone about it because I'm kind of ashamed that it makes me sick. But in Halloween, you actually get a chance to express that. It's like once a year, you can let that dark side out and enjoy the darker, grosser side of humanity a little bit more.
I will go as far to say this. I think a lot of us, and only so many people are in tune with it year round. I think a lot of us really embrace darker things, but it seems weird to other people if you embrace that publicly 12 months a year. You know what I mean? That's when you're like, this guy's fucking weird. But it seems more socially acceptable as we cruise into the fall, and especially as soon as you hit October. And I'm going to say that's kind of a shame. You know what I mean? I think people should embrace the darker side of themselves a little bit more throughout the year, but at least a lot more people feel warmed up to it, because I know personally myself, I'm obsessed with a lot of dark things, music, entertainment, whatever it is. And I noticed that I start talking about it a lot more during October, because I know I'm going to get some reciprocation from the other people that I'm talking to. Whereas if I start doing that in like February or May or something like that, people are like, what's wrong with this fucking guy? You know what I mean? So I think that's kind of a shame. We need to change that out there. I say we have Halloween year round just for a year to try it out. See how everybody, see how it
What are
goes.
you guys doing after the Easter egg hunt? Oh, I've got some like crazy like brain shaped muffins with like cherry blood dripping down it. And then we're gonna have a Halloween marathon. It's gonna be sweet.
Yeah. See, all of a sudden, if you start doing that like in mid-April, people are like, yeah, no, we're going to church and then we're gonna go do this.
You're welcome to come over. For St. Patty's Day, we've got a nice spread of corned beef and cabbage, and then we're gonna watch Friday 13 marathon and
oh yeah, no, I really do think that though. I do think that I awaken, I liven up during October as I know I can. And it's not like I hide that I like dark shit. I think I do a good job of letting everybody know I like dark shit year round, but it seems to be I can express it a lot more and everybody will be okay with it. So it kind of perpetuates me just being more into a frenzy about Halloween and things of the like. But it's a great time of year, man. Like, I'll tell you what, I just got to mention it. People got to get it out there if they haven't seen it. Squid Games is a fun thing to watch during this time period too. It's not necessarily like dark and like in the sense that it's like horror, but it's definitely intense. I know you've watched it all.
It brings out the dark side of humanity when when push comes to shove.
We can't talk about it too much. I'm just starting episode 6, so I got 3 more episodes that I'm probably going to kill at some point today or tomorrow, and then I'll be right in the mix where we can talk about it maybe next week if you're okay with that.
No. Yeah, next week we'll definitely have a Squid Game chat whenever you're done. We'll do it on air. I mean, it released as Netflix all-time most watched show ever.
That's pretty impressive because they've had some doozies on there. And you know what? Just to remind everybody, we won't be doing the show next week. Me and Bob will be in person having a nice Halloween bash. So we'll have to pause that until the week after.
Yeah, or maybe we'll do like a Monday show or something. Who knows?
We can get crazy. We can get squirrely. Why not? You know what I mean? Yeah, baby.
Maybe we'll just come in here and do some in-person conversations for our patrons.
That'd be nice. I like that.
Maybe we'll do a live TikTok or something. I don't know. No, I don't have enough followers on TikTok to go live yet.
Neither do I. I think my family and you guys are like the only people that like follow each other right now. We're not doing very well perpetuating our social media, especially what's hot right now. I'm still a complete moron and very irrelevant on Instagram, and I'm very small time, so to speak, on TikTok.
Yeah, it's very tough. Just we're busy middle-aged men.
Yeah, we've got to play Call of Duty. You know what I mean?
That's
we got time for this.
Super busy. I'm almost mastered this gun. Super busy.
But I prestiged, by the way, the other day. I'm doing well.
I saw
getting
that.
in there. Yeah,
I did too.
I'm proud of you. Well, I knew you had it in you. I mean, you know what I mean? So there you go.
Well, I think we're about out of time, Mr.
Yeah.
Casanova.
Yeah, Mr. West. I agree. We are about done for the day. I don't think I have anything else for anybody. Although I don't know if anybody noticed, but both Bob and I did not have a strong cocktail during today's show.
Well, my coffee was pretty strong. So.
My kombucha actually had 0.5% alcohol, so I guess I did drink a little bit during the show.
Well, and I would like to add this. A couple of nights ago, we have a mutual close friend of ours that had a really, kind of horrific car accident. So I would like to say, get better, Mike G.
Yeah, baby.
And
the G'sicle.
Send some thoughts and prayers and well wishes to our friend Mike G. And we're all thinking about you, and we want you to get better and move past this. And you're going to do great. And be thankful that you're here and moving forward, and you've got good friends and family to help you out in this time of need. So I just wanted to get some thought outs to old Mike G. It's a pretty bad one, and so we're looking out for you.
Well said, Bob, and I'm glad that you brought that up. And again, not to toot our own horns here, but he's got like the best of friends, meaning like us being like kind of the best people and character out there. You know what I mean? So
in the world.
So he's got to be grateful that he's still alive and that he's got like some of the best people in the world in his corner. So I think we end it there. Guys, thanks for joining us today. It's always a blast to just bullshit with all of you out there and my buddy Bob. But guys, check us out on the podcast platforms. Get in there and rate us, like and subscribe on the YouTube channels. Patreon will be awesome, guys. More traction there continues to help us help you. So until next time, guys, take it easy.
See ya. No Cowboys.